Happy 4th of July, YouTube. Unless I get this out late and don't go back and correct my voiceover, which if that's the case, happy post 4th of July, YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the long weekend and spent it with family, barbecuing, swimming, or whatever it is you enjoy during the summertime, or any time really. Today, we're going to see how fast this Hisuian eagle can beat Pokemon Blue. Rules are in the description. In case you're wondering, I still plan on doing Braviary in Gen 5. This was just a bit quicker to get out because Gen 1 is very fast. But before we dive into everything, let's first touch on the differences in the Unova and Hisuian eagle's stats. Being that it's a psychic flying type like another Pokemon in Generation 1, if you get the joke, it's a special attacker as opposed to its Unovan counterpart. However, Hisuian Braviary is going to fall short some with the 65 base speed. The 83 attack and 70 defense aren't terrible, but you're going to see in this run where this Pokemon just misses some ranges here and there, and it gets a little frustrating. I'm going to quickly touch on the moveset and TMs. You know the deal with these Hisuian backports. I use the Legends Arceus Learn set, and we have 6 new moves for this Pokemon. Aerial Ace, which is flying type swift. Twister, a weak dragon move which is going to be essential for getting past Brock early, and then we get into some of the heavy hitters like Air Slash, which has a chance to flinch, Esper Wing, its signature move, Brave Bird, which is flying type double edge, and Hurricane, which has a chance at confusion. To briefly go over the TMs, I looked at Gen 5 onwards and came up with this set. I was a bit surprised to see that this thing learns Rock Slide, and Fire Blast is on there because this thing learns Heat Wave. Looking back on that, I probably could have done without it, but hey, it just gives us another tool and makes things a bit more interesting. Now, I just mentioned how Twister is going to be needed for Brock, and we don't learn it until level 11, and normally that's not a big deal, but Braviary is in the slow level up group, so it's going to take some extra time and experience. Being that we're a psychic flying type, it's a shame we don't start with any flying or psychic type moves, only quick attack. However, that does change after knocking out the bug catcher's first Pokemon, where we level up to 6 and can learn Aerial Ace. This helps us get through the bug catcher's Pokemon with ease, and by the time I exit Viridian, I'm level 8. Once I arrive in Pewter, I'm going to go ahead and spend all my money at the market. Pokeballs, potions, antidotes, I'm spending everything I can, because if I didn't, I'd just lose it all with the blackout grinding against the Junior Light Years trainer we're about to do. And my goal is to be able to blackout grind against him until I reach level 11 and can learn Twister. While it's only 40 base power, it uses our higher special stat. It's neutral against Brock's Pokemon who have terrible special, and it'll be the best special move we get access to for now, until we get Esper Wing at 25 and later Psychic by TM when we reach Celadon. And for Braviary, it only has to do 3 rounds of blackout grinding before I can take out the Sandshrew and level up to 11 and learn Twister. Now, with this move, let's go ahead and face Brock. Although it deals neutral damage and uses our special attack stat, Twister sucks. It's a 3-shot on Geodude as it doesn't hit me, just going for defense curl. Against Onix though, I need to be careful. It's faster and goes for a turn 1 bide. Because of this, I switch from Twister to quick attack. I don't want to be taking back a ton of damage from bide, especially because I didn't save, although I could just black out. Bide deals back only 10 damage to me and Onix goes for it again, but I decide to keep my foot on the gas the second time around with Twister, and we get by and earn the first badge. The next section of the game doesn't pose any problems for Braviary. While Aerial Ace does a lot of the heavy lifting, Quick Attack and Twister do have some uses. Once I arrive in Mount Moon, I'm going to pick up 3 optional battles in this first run. The first is against the bug catcher right before the rare candy and escape rope. The second is the last with the Bellsprout and Oddish, and the last is the hiker near the end of the first floor here. Since I have Twister, he's basically an easier Brock. By the time I knock out the Super Nerd's final Pokemon, Braviary reaches level 17. I take the Helix Fossil, and once I arrive in Cerulean, I'm going to take on the rival. I will admit, I wanted an extra level or 2 because of Pidgeotto and how annoying it can be with Sand Attack, but I briefly forgot that Aerial Ace never misses, and while Pidgeotto does use Sand Attack on me, I can 3-shot it, and Aerial Ace 1 or 2 shots his remaining team. making this battle a gimme basically. In the follow-up run, perhaps I can cut some of these extra battles in Mount Moon. Nugget Bridge doesn't give Braviary any problems, and it learns Slash along the way at level 18. Having a move that always crits is definitely nice and is going to come in handy for what's to come, but right around the corner from it is Air Slash at 20. This 75 base power stab option with a chance to flinch is going to be my move of choice against Misty. Staryu is first, and Air Slash one-shots it. She sends out her ace next. Because Starmie is faster, I'll never get the chance at flinching it, and Starmie doesn't bother using Bubble Beam on me, only going for Tackle and Water Gun, as 3 Air Slashes take it out, earning me the Cascade badge. We're going to jump ahead to the SSN. Braviary unfortunately can't learn Body Slam, and I'm going to be skipping Rest because we can learn Recover, but I will be picking up the Gentleman Candy today, and I'm going to use 2 candies right away to bring Braviary to level 25 where we can learn Esper Wing, which is another move that has an increased critical hit chance, and with a base speed of 65, it along with Slash will always be a guaranteed crit, and you can see it in action here against the rival as I 1 or 2 shot his entire team, just like with Rival 2. Of course, level 25 is also going to bring us above a damage rounding threshold, which I'm hoping that combined with our higher special stat will be enough to get us by Lieutenant Surge. Voltorb is first. Surge wastes his turn going for an X speed as Esper Wing gets the one-shot. We level up and can learn Recover, which I teach in the place of Aerial Ace. Pikachu is next, and it goes down in one hit as well. Last is Raichu. It outspeeds as Thunderbolt does half, while Slash brings it to a quarter. As it goes for Thunderbolt again, I can only cross my fingers and pray, and Braviary survives on 10 HP remaining, not getting paralyzed, and Slash is able to finish off his ace, earning me the Thunder Badge. If we were a level or 2 lower, or if Raichu crit or paralyzed us, this wouldn't have been a first try victory. But for this Pokemon, I'm going to take it. As we enter the mid-game, the next section is Rock Tunnel, and while you might think that the self-destructing Hiker could give Braviary some problems, I have Esper Wing, and his Pokemon have Trash Special, so we're just going to pick things up in Celadon. In a lot of these first playthroughs, I've been picking up the Eevee, since I can buy a Water Stone as I do my Celadon shopping. Normally I get Lapras as my Surfer, and my Strength user, but this is a good alternative if you're going to be doing Sylph after Cinnabar, at least for Surf purposes. After I do my Celadon shopping and other miscellaneous errands, I unlock the way to Saffron and grab the TM for Psychic, and I do end up teaching it over Esper Wing. But I make sure I have no PP of Esper Wing left before doing so, and I run out of PP on this move just before Giovanni in the Rocket Hideout. And as you can guess, Psychic wrecks his team, and of course Kangaskhan hangs on from one, which is typical. Only one thing left to do here. Let's face Erica. Erica really didn't deserve an intro. Learning from the Hisuian Zoroark run, instead of going for Psychic, which would give Braviary a stab bonus, I elect for Air Slash, which one-shots her entire team. Rival in Pokemon Tower, his team can't withstand the power of Air Slash and Psychic. It didn't cross my mind yet in the playthrough, but was teaching Psychic early the right play. Esper Wing, while only 10 power weaker, will always crit, while Psychic's special lowering chances could come in handy, especially during the league. The channelers in Pokemon Tower don't pose any problems for Braviary, and since our choices are Cycling Road or Silphco, I'm going to go to Cycling Road. And I'm going to be picking up a few more optional battles here, 5 in total. This guy with a level 33 Weezing, the Rare Candy, this guy who I think we should name the Coughing Sandwich, he has 2 Weezings and a Coughing. Just south of him is this guy with a single Muck, this guy with a Weezing and a Muck, and last, the Biker Boss as everyone calls him. Braviary was level 33 after defeating the rival, and it's now level 37 after all of the training on Cycling Road. I head through the Safari Zone once I arrive in Fuchsia to get the final HMs of the run and pick up the 2 vitamins and full restore along the way. After completing that, I head to the gym. Both Slash and Air Slash are good enough for cutting through the 2 mandatory Juggler's Psychic types. And I don't expect Koga to be any sort of challenge, and no intro for him this week. as you can guess, Psychic just decimates his team. Weezing does hang on from one, but he just uses an X attack, and I'm interested in how much damage Self-Destruct would have done, but maybe that's something for the follow-up run. I'm going to head down to Cinnabar following the battle, not picking up any optional battles against the swimmers, although I do have a run coming out within the next month where I battled quite a few of them, and I still need to do a follow-up run for that Pokemon. And something slightly annoying in Cinnabar, when I tried to pick up the secret key, my bag was full, and I know I'm gonna need extra slots for Fire Blast and the card key in Sylph, so I make the room for those. It's a little annoying, everybody wants to have that perfect bag management, and I just didn't get it on this run, but that's okay. Now, let's face Blaine. Growlithe is first. Psychic doesn't get the one-shot as it misses takedown. I finish it on the next turn and out comes Ponyta. I stick with Slash against it and it barely hangs on and goes for Fire Spin. As it has me trapped, Blaine uses 2 super potions to heal it fully. Once I break free, Ponyta just goes for Tail Whip as Slash 2-shots it. The Tail Whip actually makes me speed tied with Rapidash as Air Slash does over half as it misses a Tail Whip. It wins the tie on the next turn though and goes for Fire Spin, while also critting. It only lasts 2 turns though, as it badge boosts me with Tail Whip as I finish it off. Last is Arcanine. Since I'm at half health, I go for Recover, as it goes for Fire Blast, which burns me in the process. I'm going to speed up the next bit. It's me going for Recover when I get low, and Arcanine alternates between Fire Blast and Takedown, the second of which hurts thanks to all the Tail Whips from earlier in the battle. I'm hoping to get special drops from Psychic, which I don't get, but I do get a crit from Air Slash, followed by Blaine going for Roar, which allows me to win this battle. Blaine's badge gives me a 12.5% boost to my special, but I also get the TM for Fire Blast, which could prove to be useful down the line. Now, it's time to head to Silphco. I beeline it straight to the rival, skipping the Machoke candy and vitamins on the 10th floor, although I do plan on going back for them after defeating Giovanni. Anyways, the rival isn't really a challenge. I'm able to 1 or 2-shot his entire team with the only Pokemon doing damage to me being Alakazam and Blastoise. I thought Blastoise had Skull Bash by this point as an alternative to Bubble or Water Gun, but it learns it at level 42, which will be in the next battle, when it also has Hydro Pump. Giovanni. This battle would have went faster if I moved my cursor to Psychic for the Nidorino. It can't do much to me along with the rest of his team, and like with the rival, his entire team is 1 or 2-shot. Before heading to Saffron Gym, I'm going to visit Copycat's house and get the TM for Mimic. I end up not using it, but thought it might be useful for the league at the time. Now, let's see how our Psychic type does against Kanto's Psychic type specialist. Sabrina also didn't deserve an intro. Slash is going to decimate her team, although I was surprised to see Mr. Mime hang on from one. And while Venomoth could have used Stun Spore, it just goes for Poison Powder, and Sabrina's Alakazam will only use Recover, so Slash will eventually take it out. Viridian City Gym. While in here, Braviary levels up to 43 and can learn Brave Bird, which I do teach in the place of Air Slash, although it deals recoil damage, being over 40 base power stronger, being a better stab option, and having Recover on my moveset, it's worth it. I don't bother healing before the battle with Giovanni, but after Dugtrio outspeeds me and brings me to 48 HP, even though I do one-shot it, I go for Recover just to be safe on the one-off chance the Nidos survive an attack and then crit me with like Body Slam or Thrash. That doesn't happen though, and it's an easy 8th gym badge. Rival 6. This battle is normally pretty difficult, and although Braviary is only level 44, and then 45 after knocking out the Rhyhorn, the first 4 Pokemon are 1 or 2-shot. It's not until Alakazam that I get under half health thanks to it critting a Psybeam. Because of this, I go for Recover on Blastoise because Hydro Pump would probably do a lot, but it just goes for Bite. My following Psychic gets a special drop, which lowers the power of Hydro Pump and increases the power of my following Psychic to finish off his ace. On to Victory Road. I'm going to pick up the extra rare candy in here, along with picking up 2 optional battles. The first thing to note here, because I'm only level 45, I actually get an encounter with a Repel Up against this level 45 Onix, but afterwards, I fight the cool trainer with the Chansey, Parasect, and Dugong, and then the cool trainer with the Bellsprout line. Once I knock out her Victory Bell, Braviary is level 47. Once I arrive in Indigo Plateau, I'm going to pop 3 rare candies to level 50. I think being above above the damage rounding threshold is going to help. Now it's time to take on the league. Lorelei is first and her lead is Dugong, and while Psychic does less than half to it, I get a special drop, which weakens its Aurora Beam, which badge boosts me thanks to the attack drop. I can take it out the next turn and out comes Cloyster. Psychic leaves it on low health as its Aurora Beam doesn't do much to me and I take it out the next turn. Against Slowbro, I can heal up any lost HP with the Recover and go for Slash. It's a slow fight because it's a 4-hit KO, but it just goes for Growl and Withdraw. Slash doesn't one-shot Jinx as Ice Punch does over a quarter to me before I take it out. Last is Lapras. Psychic does maybe a third to it as Blizzard crits and one-shots me for our first actual reset of the run. I haven't lost a battle since I did blackout grinding on the Junior Light Years trainer. I pop 3 more candies to level 53 before the next battle, and this gives me better ranges along with being able to tank attacks better. Now Psychic can 2-shot Lapras as Blizzard doesn't crit or freeze me thankfully. Bruno's next. Just use Psychic. You don't need to use a flying move for the fighting types, just keep your cursor on Psychic and we can move on. Agatha is next, and I taught Hurricane over Brave Bird when candying up to 53, and I'm curious as to how much damage it will do to her ghost, and it leaves her first Gengar on low health. I have a feeling Brave Bird would one-shot the ghost, and it's something to keep in mind for the follow-up playthrough. Psychic, though, is able to one-shot all of her Pokemon except the Gengars, so maybe keeping the stronger Flying-type move will be more beneficial for those. Lance is last, and this battle did have me a bit nervous because I have to 2-shot all of his Pokemon, and you'll see that all of them except Gyarados and Dragonite hit me with Hyper Beam. That does help me a bit because I can go for Recover on the recharge turn to help myself out, and had any of those Hyper Beams crit, we might be talking about something different. But now, let's face the champion. I've taught Fire Blast in the place of Hurricane for this battle. I thought keeping Slash over it was the better play. Pidgeot's Wing Attack doesn't do much to me as I 2-shot it, along with Alakazam who just goes for Recover and then Reflect. I go for Recover against Rhydon, hoping for a Tail Whip or Leer for badge boost purposes, but it gets a 2-turn Fury attack, leaving me with a net of +1 HP after Recover. Psychic doesn't one-shot it, as it goes for Horn Drill, and I take it out the next turn. Psychic will 2-shot Arcanine, but it hits me with Takedown, bringing me down to about 3/4 of my health remaining. I honestly thought it would do a bit more. Exeggutor comes out, and Fire Blast does over half. Stomp brings me to nearly half as I go for Recover, because I know what's to come after the Coconut Tree. I knock out the bulky Psychic type and last is Blastoise. Psychic gets a critical hit and a special drop, and Blizzard misses. What I expected to be a difficult battle was an easy first try victory. Braviary clocks in with a real time of 42 minutes and 6 seconds, with 1 reset at level 57 with an in-game time of 2 hours and 45 minutes. While I don't consider either the real time or game time terrible, it can definitely be better. The biggest thing that holds this bird back is the slow level up group, and if I were to compare it to the legendary birds of Kanto, I think it's better than Moltres, but probably wouldn't be better than Zapdos or Articuno. But keep in mind I also have yet to play the legendary birds, at least their Kanto forms. But from what I've seen in the community from other playthroughs, it's just my opinion for now. Of course, that's subject to change once I actually play those birds. But for now, let's see if I can improve Braviary's time in a second run. The first thing to note in this second run is the Blackout training. I unfortunately knock out the Sandshrew 150 experience shy of level 11, and it was just the unfortunate luck of me hitting through Sand Attack. But luckily for me, I find 3 Metapod back to back in the forest and hit level 11 off those. We're going to jump ahead to Surge. Aside from having to battle those 3 Metapod in the forest, I've skipped all of the optional training I did in the previous run to this point, with the exception of the Gentleman Candy, and I still use 2 candies to reach level 25 for Esper Wing and a damage rounding threshold. While I got lucky against Surge in the first run, I don't in this one. Raichu paralyzes me and I can't move, and I take my first reset here, but luckily I win on the next attempt. As I play some footage from Cycling Road, I'm going to mention 2 things. The first is that I don't do any optional training here. In fact, I'm not going to take an optional battle for the remainder of the game, but a big change I made from the first run to the second, in my opinion at least, is keeping Esper Wing, although I get extremely unlucky with Gen 1 misses when it comes to it. I even double checked the code to make sure I put the accuracy in correctly, which I did, but I thought the increased crit chance would shorten some battles, like the one against Koga. Esper Wing is able to one-shot all of his Pokemon, where Psychic did not. I'm also at a much lower level now. I head to Silphco next as opposed to Cinnabar and battle the rival, and this battle is a bit slow. I have to 3-shot Pidgeot and it hits me with a sand attack, so I do miss quite a bit on the following party members. But Esper Wing comes in clutch to hit Blastoise when I need it to, and I get by this one on my first try still. Esper Wing makes Blaine a lot easier. It's able to one-shot all of his Pokemon except for Arcanine, who just goes for Roar. I'm going to jump ahead to Victory Road. Once again, I run into a wild Onix with the Repel on because I'm only level 44, and I don't fix this until I reach Indigo Plateau, where I pop the 9 rare candies that I've picked up throughout the playthrough to bring Braviary from level 44 to 53, the same level I started the league at in the first run, and this time I'm keeping Brave Bird over Hurricane. This time against Lorelei, while it's a bit of a closer battle because Cloyster brings me down to 3 HP, I'm able to come back and get a first try victory. Against Agatha, Brave Bird does not one-shot her lead Gengar, but Esper Wing does, along with her level 60 Gengar. Lance unfortunately gives me a reset. Hyper Beam from Dragonite does exactly half to me as Esper Wing brings it to a quarter. I'm out of PP for the move and only have 1 elixir remaining, which I didn't pop before the battle, so I go for Slash, which leaves it on a sliver. Lance uses a Hyper Potion after that. I resort to using Slash against it from here. It's going to be a 4-hit KO, but once again, when I have it at red health, I'm at half health, and Dragonite crits a slam to take me out. At this point in the run, I pivoted away from Esper Wing and decided to teach Psychic and pop the 2 PP upside picked up along the way. And perhaps this was a good call, because I get a second try victory over Lance. Against the champion, I don't teach Fire Blast, but with Brave Bird on my set now, I could have replaced Slash with it. But Psychic one-shots Pidgeot thanks to a crit, Brave Bird one-shots Alakazam, Psychic 2-shots Rhydon, Psychic also 2-shots Arcanine, who I had to heal against because it crit takedown for nasty damage. Brave Bird 1-shots Exeggutor, which is always nice to see, and Psychic 2-shots Blastoise, who lands Blizzard, but it doesn't do nearly enough to Braviary or freeze it. In its follow-up run, Braviary clocks in with a real time of 40 minutes and 54 seconds, again at level 57, with an in-game time of 2 hours and 38 minutes, shaving off 7 minutes from the first run. In terms of tier list rankings, for now, it's going to be at the bottom of the A tier. I know I mentioned the legendary birds earlier in this video. Perhaps when I finally play them, I'll feature the follow-up of the Galarian birds with them. They definitely deserve it. Anyways, sorry this video was a day late, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Thank you for the continued support on the channel, and I'll catch you in my next one. Take care, everybody. And if you made it this far, be on the lookout for a stream on Twitch next week, as I play Pokemon White with Shadow Stitch Plays as we run Volcarona. I'll see you then.